Hi, everybody. Sorry for the delay on the stream. Just getting things configured here and yeah, just kind of getting everything in order. But happy for everybody to join us for our 13th Builder Space. Yeah, and this one we're going to be talking about green goods, diving into some of the methodologies that we currently have. Hopefully we'll have some gardeners join us, and if anybody in the call in the chat that wants to join the stream, just feel free to say, and can invite you on, and we could talk about some of the environmental work and methodologies you're working on. But yeah, we got Coy here and Matt here. Coy, want to introduce yourself?
Hey everyone. I'm Kwai. I will not open my camera today. But I'm from Grupo Brazil, and I was also a lead on the Dev Guild. And we have been working on green goods since a while. Uh, and like I have some experience with agroecology and agroforestry, and yeah, this is how kind of I got involved, more involved. Excited for the conversation we will have. And yeah, that's my quick introduction. I pass to Matt.
Yeah, oh yeah. Matt Compost, community lead for the Dev Guild, self-described glue guy, doing a little bit of everything, and yeah, huge fan of seeing how green goods plays out, and shout out all the gardeners out there.
Awesome. And I want to see if I can bring Nansel. If you want to share, if you want to share some words, I'm gonna bring on stream. You ready?
Yeah, GM guys. Sorry, my background is a bit noisy, but yeah, I'm Nansel. I'm also a community lead at the Dev Guild and also a contributor in Green Goods as well. And I'm happy to be here and excited to like meet all the gardeners and discuss and just kind of have an idea and sense of what Green Goods is. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Awesome. And yeah, I guess I didn't even introduce myself. I'm also steward of the Dev Guild, and yeah, actively leading Green Goods. And yeah, this like I said, this call is definitely gonna be focused on green goods. We recently did a article in our regenerative stack series focused on green goods. So see if I could I'll drop that in the chat right now to get some context. But yeah, I think we could yeah, Corey, I know you want to talk about like kind of like where
Yeah,
things
maybe we
started
could
in
start
some
talking
degree, and
about
we
maybe
definitely yeah, I don't mind doing that. We could go through kind of the journey of green goods. I think I think there's a lot of different perspectives or kind of like things that mixed into the pot that make green goods, and at times you know trying kind of a whole mix of ideas. But yeah, maybe I'll pass it to Corey first if you want to kind of talk about your perspective on like kind of green goods, and yeah, like how it came together from your perspective and things of that nature.
cool. May I suggest us? Can you hear me? Cool. Uh, we had a question in the chat, and I think we could start from that. What do you think about like thinking that more people will watch, and it is a good opportunity to them to connect to get to know the Dev Guild.
This one wants to.
Do you want to make a brief description about the Dev Guild, and then I can hop in to talk
Okay, I
about
see
green
this.
goods.
Yeah, so the Dev Guild, we're a community of regenerative builders, across the globe, centered on building tools, resources, workshops, for the Greenpill chapters in the larger regen space. And yeah, I think we came together in late 2023, and then really picked up steam in 2024. But yeah, but really a lot of our work is centered around currently this regenerative stack. I shared the article of the Green Goods piece that we did for that series. But currently, the Dev Guild is focused on a couple layers within the the blockchain stack on getting more people, for example, involved in squad staking, like running nodes where they're earning yield to support public goods. Also creating looks like my camera just switched. Okay, am I back? Okay. Also operating grant rounds and helping with different capital allocation tools that people use to allocate funds, as well as supporting the network with tools like Greenwill, which is centered around measuring regenerative activity and contributions to better inform governance and decision making within Greenpill, and then ideally the larger region space going forward. And then Green Goods, which is what we're here for today, which is really, I'd say, a cornerstone application within the Dev Guild. It's had many iterations in the sense that of kind of different ideas of building the app and the different ways to then get to Green Goods. So it's definitely something that a lot of people that have been in the Dev Guild for a while, like Coy, Marcin, who's on the call, Nancel, have been involved in for a while, and that's centered around making it very simple and easy for people to capture different environmental actions, with our initial focus being biodiversity. And yeah, that's what we're gonna be talking a lot about today. So hopefully that was a good breakdown of the Dev Guild, and Matt and Corey could chime in if I'm missing anything.
Yeah, I think that basically says it all. I threw a link to the Charmverse homepage in the chat, and then I'll throw the regenerative tech stack link in there too.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think you covered everything. Just in just a few words, the Dev Guild it's a place for those who are coming, like the newcomers. They can find a place to learn and practice. The people who are more tech savvy, they find a place to connect and build projects together. And people who are already like Web3 native, they can find a way to like explore other disciplines, from besides their expertise, because the connection and the partnerships, this is a very strong aspect of the guild. So everyone has a place. So yeah, I can hop into Green Goods and maybe talk about how my work started with invasive species. Basically, after my bachelor degree in agroecology, I was like, yeah, working with consultancy with agroforestries and making like how can I say, like mapping the territory and finding the problems and the solutions on the land, kind of around water and things like that. And one of the projects that I worked at was a farm here in my city, and they had like a big problem with invasive species in protected areas close to rivers and areas that should have a high index of biodiversity, like very rich and preserved. But in these cases, like we kind of the mapping, if we look to the remote sensing analysis, like basically what everything that we see is green. But if you look closely, you see that is just one species that's taking over everything, covering everything. And this is a big problem. So I started to map areas here who are like dominated by this species, and basically to cut down this species, crush them, uh, incorporate in the soil, and plant native saplings in the place, mostly fruits. And this was like the work I started to do with Winter Brazil. And when I started, we connected on the Dev Guild, and the Dev Guild was like we were seeking the same purposes. Like, and from this we started to meet on the some product syncs. And I remember Me, Afo, and Marcin, like we spent hours talking about many ideas and mapping leaderboards and all of that. So great times. And then we got like we started to do some experimentation, and then we got some with the UI and all of that. And when we got the Refi grant, we increased the focus on the prototyping. And this was like this is kind of the origin of the protocol I was working on, and we kind of we can implement now with Green Goods. So basically, we decided to have a simple focus on our main metric right now would be like increase number of species per area, basically. So increasing the number of species is it's already like a base index of uh, biodiversity richness. So this is kind of the path we are following. There is some challenges on the credit side, uh, but yeah, we can talk more about it.
Nice. Nice. And yeah, I definitely remember those mirror board sessions. Speaking of, I actually could bring up the board. We could take a look at it and share with people. So yeah, Corey was referencing like mirror board sessions, and really a lot of this is a lot of these are like kind of core artifacts for what is Green Goods. I guess where can I start? I think this is a good place to kind of outline a couple things. So and to kind of give like my perspective of like kind of how I came into Green Goods and kind of my background. So for me, really, well, let me first show this. I first came into the Dev Guild and the Green Pill focus on Wayflow. That was my project that I've been building before joining Green Pill. That is centered around creating a symbiotic relationship between physical plants and digital creatures, and really focusing on youth and making it fun for for kids to care for plants and then also play different AR games and stuff of that nature. And then when I joined the Green Pill, I felt there could be I remember at the time hypersearch was a big thing, and kind of this notion initially where we wanted to build a onboarding app. So the first couple months in 2024 with the Dev Guild, we were looking about building this onboarding app that would like use hypersearch. But then slowly started to realize with hypersearch that you needed a more granular touch point or data primitive to capture more frequent actions that then you could bundle and aggregate into a hypersearch. So that's when attestations really came into play, and that was like really right before Denver, and that's a lot of then we started having a lot of these syncs, bringing like our ideas. Like Corey came with like the grow ecosystem, explorer, alchemist, agent archetypes. Marcin came with having like a simplicity approach to how we approach things and trying to make things simple and tangible for the users. I came with like a problem solution action work type flow, and we kind of combined all those things to initially create something that was pretty broad. I remember there's a whole concept around campaigns and people creating campaigns to do different things. So things like were it's kind of interesting for me because I feel that I came to Green Pill more focused on environmental initially, and then with the onboarding app exploration, and then going into what was Camp Green, the East Denver project that then evolved into Green Goods, that then now focused on biodiversity. And I think I realized that trying to build too broad, or just for me personally, that it's hard to try to build a general application that captures all types of impacts, right? So trying to then segment it under environmental work and then even more further under biodiversity, I think allows us to, build with a niche and build and optimize for that use case rather than trying to like, boil the whole ocean and solve all different types of impact. Um, so yeah, I just really want to highlight that. And a lot of these calls are very informative. You can see this is a very complex, and then you can see, yeah, and you can see we're a lot of things, we're pretty complex in kind of how this all, engaged. So what we really want to do is, I remember having discussions around, let's just focus on this bottom half with green goods. Let's just focus on the action and the work. And and then yeah, with green goods, that's all it focuses on. And then I remember we had talks around, I remember, was it Greenfield Commons, which was going to cover more the problem solution side, where people would report problems, the community, different people, experts would, oh yeah, the community would report problems, explorers, um, alchemists who are like experts would provide the solution for that, and then you derive different actions to then, reach that solution that then, has outputs in pieces of work. um, so
And
yeah,
this is still exists, right? Like Greenfield Commons is still on the repo, on the DevKit repo. It's just paused.
yes, it's still there. It's something that hasn't been worked on probably like in a year, but it exists in the sense that, um, even exists, even not being an app. I think, we're still kind of having that focus on trying to, because you could do this manually. Like, we don't have to. It's nice to have an app to capture it, but I think maybe that comes later, and maybe we just add that to green goods over time, right?
Maybe we already have these problems, right? Like
Mhm.
maybe we can make a list of problems.
Which we actually did. We did do that with the attestation list. Um,
Yeah,
so which I could also show. Let me bring that up. Attestation list. So here we did, so around that same time, like, or this was a little bit after, but then we also created this list of kind of, with that format of problem solution, action work, to where it was, identifying different problems. So you can see here, trash on the beach, polluted river, milkweed planting for monarchs, um,
I think
mudslide.
I with my email. Our email is there.
Oh, okay.
Just to
Okay. All right. Let me. Uh, well, so apologies on that.
yeah.
But yeah, you can see we had a bunch of cool attestations. Um, yeah, Alvin. Yeah, look, Alvin here in the chat. Yeah, I think, really, I think a lot of the network, and of us are really come from this environmental backgrounds and different perspectives, and or different sections or subsections within the environmental space. Um, so yeah, for me, I think it's more of an exploration. Like, I didn't have a grounded educational background in, like, environmental work. For me, it was really kind of a, um, trying to tap into my like youth and connections I had to, like, when I was growing up and planting and being active and being out and about and stuff of that nature. So, and I've learned a ton, from Corey and others about environmental work since I've joined Greenpill. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Uh,
Yeah, I think we covered a lot. I think we really made an overview about Green Goods origins. Yeah,
yeah, and I want to shout out
we are on
Marcin
time.
here. I want to kind of give Marcin's perspective, or like kind of really highlight him in a sense of, he, Marcin, who's really with Green Goods, really was focused on like the product, the BD, as well as the methodologies. I know, like, he spent time when we're doing the Refine ARB grant, helping to translate the work that Corey was going on the ground into how that could be methodologies we have in Green Goods. So really want to, give him a shout out for all the work, because he's been a part of it, since the beginning. and really having an eye towards, I would say, simplicity at times when maybe me and Corey are getting too complex or want to make things. So he's always kind of asked the simple questions to like kind of keep us grounded. So want to shout out Marcin for that. Um, Also want to shout out to Steve. Shout out to Steve in particular, Wild Hair, who he was at ETH Denver, was the core engineer alongside with me building. So he, super great developer, and did a lot of work. And then Nansel did the branding, so the Green Goods logo, the color palette, all those things you see were created by Nansel, which I think Grings' logo is one of my favorite ones that we have in the Dev Guild. So shout out to Nansel for that work. And then Marcus, the UI design that you see in Green Goods was created by Marcus, and he spent a lot of time on that. And yeah, really want to shout him out too. And I guess one last person is also Alex, who came on as an engineer to help move things along. He added localization. So we had Portuguese and Spanish, excuse me. And then he also added, he helped to complete the work approval flow. So I want to give a shout out of appreciation to him. And it looks like we have a couple new faces joining the stream, or one new face. I think Corey, and we'll get him back here in a bit. But let me bring on Diogo. Hey, what's up, Diogo?
Hello, Afo. Hello, Dev Guild.
What's
Good to
up?
be following here to the studio. I was on the YouTube. So, yeah,
Nice.
good to see the story being told.
Awesome. Yeah. And happy to have you here. And we can now transition over to get to the present. I also got Jonathan on the stream. I'll bring him on too. Welcome, Jonathan. He's another one of the gardeners doing the pilot. Looks like we lost him. He'll probably be back. But yeah, so kind of fast forward to where we are in the present. Let me kind of zoom out a little bit here and kind of show you guys where we're at. So, and also that, to give even more context for how Green Goods functions with this nice infographic put together by Sophie. Green Goods is a very, we're trying to be very simple and very much focused on this MDR flow where you provide media for the environmental work you're doing as visual proof. Ideally, over time, we could add things like AI and different plant detection tools that could, look at the images, ensure that they're correct, et cetera, the right plant. And then you enter details. This is where I want to shout out Diogo we had a workshop a couple weeks ago where we're talking about what are some of the functionality that would make capturing your environmental work easier and more seamless. And a very novel idea Diogo presented was like audio notes, right? Instead of having to input a ton of data, especially if you're working in the field and might be wearing gloves or have these things that make clicking around, writing text just not optimal. Being able to just have a conversation about the work you're doing and what you've done, and then have that be translated into like structured, data that you could then have as the details, I think would be a very nice functionality. And yeah, enable people to streamline their work. And then of course you review, you have a final stage to review things, make sure everything's correct, and then you submit that work. And then ideally it gets approved by your garden operator if everything is correct. So that's simply what Green Goods is. And right now we're stepping into this pilot where we're going to be piloting really with a lot of Greenpill chapters and Greenpill communities. So to shout out a few, we have Dominican Republic with Wasabi of the Coconut Network. We'll be working with his Adelphi farm where he's doing regenerative farming and figuring out how to optimize green goods for his use cases. Diogo, who's on the stream with me right now, is doing agroforestry in Brazil. And we're working on him to support his efforts. I know he's currently using tools already like Sylvie and others, and just want to find a way to kind of integrate and help fill in maybe the areas where things aren't as optimal and could be improved, like the audio notes functionality potentially. Then we have Anastasia from Kofangan. She is um, actively like more just doing small gardening, like home gardening, but we also want to be able to support that use case and understand how we could empower people to do environmental work at any scale. And then we have Jonathan, who was on the stream. Hopefully he'll join back again. And I had a great conversation with him yesterday talking about Uganda, where he's doing tree planting at different schools, both primary and secondary schools, to where he goes to the school. They teach the kids about why planting is important, why these trees are important, what they provide, and then each student gets a tree to take care of. And he's also doing regenerative farming with women to empower women as well. So yeah, just a ton of great gardeners, and I want to now shut up and pass it over to Diogo, who join to maybe talk about some of the work you're doing, and yeah, how Green Goods could support, and yeah, any ideas you have. Yeah, I know we've talked about this before, but we'd love for you to share.
Cool, cool. So yeah, so like right now we're starting to develop a campaign to invite agroforest stewards and mentors to join, to participate in our quests, uh, and well, I'm using, like I told you before, the Impact Miner uh, to make these quests, and I hope it can work in an automated way to reward the stewards after we validate their submissions. Uh, it's still not flowing totally smoothly, but it's improving every year. Last year was a bit different, and now it's better. Um, I have now the challenge to onboard mentors. I really want to incentivize agroforestry training that is more long term than just a weekend uh, experience like it's done in Brazil, often by NGOs, something that is monthly. And what I got, is the support from gardens, in that QF round, and we'll have to create another different strategy to bring the mentors to gardens. It's a bit tougher than just send a proof thing. Uh, and so I don't know. Maybe we can. Actually, uh, I see the Greenfield network as a global network, and if we can create educational protocols that are in agreement with everyone, and we all use the same certificates and all, that can be very helpful for the coordination. So this is something we could think about. We I know there are many projects planting trees over there, but yeah, just getting all the farm projects, all the food producing projects, and then you know aligning, socially speaking, social protocols pretty much, so we can have a network for education and training.
Education, I think, is so huge here, and I really was when talking to Jonathan yesterday was just insightful, hearing how his process of going to the schools, planting the trees, giving each student a tree, having them track the process, and I could see Green Goods being able to support that in a fun manner, to where it makes it easy to track your education, share your learnings with your peers, and back with Jonathan and others that are doing those initiatives. So yeah, I think education is very powerful. Yeah, Cody, I see you're back on the stream. Have any thoughts? You want to chime in here on the education side?
Man, I totally agree. I think this is the path to for people to and like the back end, like being something like green goods that provide a seamless experience why they are like using Web3 infrastructure. Like this is already like yeah, it is strategic because unify interests, you know. So education, it is the main goal for now. And I think we are doing a great work. I think next steps could be like having thinking about education inside the app too. Uh, how can we also educate from there? And excited for that too. That phase.
Yeah, that's yeah. When Diogo was speaking, I was thinking about that too. How like what could we over time add as like educational functionality in the app? Like, um, I think that the education could be very powerful. We just tap into the network effects of what other gardeners are doing, and just finding a way to amplify that to the other gardeners. Um, so that they're like, oh, like look at how wasabi is, doing regenerative farming. Look how
Hmm.
Diogo, is growing and planting, etc. Um,
Yeah, yeah. If I can, uh, like, it's good that you brought Wasabi's example. Like, so where we're planting uh, coconut trees, and that's the first step. But soon you'll be harvesting coconuts, and then what are we doing with the coconuts? So we can just sell them fully, or we can process them, and then there's a learning path in processing. So we can dry it, or we can make oil, or we can, and there's all this learning path relating to processing of
mhm,
coconuts.
yep.
So this more specific learning path for food production really could be tracked, and it's the same in Dominican Republic, it's the same for Brazil, is any coconut production. So if I learn how to process coconuts in Brazil, I can be recognized by the folks in Dominican Republic, and
Hmm.
this kind of certificates that attest that you have the knowledge of that. It's something very meaningful, I believe, for the network coordination.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah, specifically talking about that and how this could relate with the app and like we could implement like something that we could think about is how to evolve the actions, right? Like uh, the planting, for example. This this could be more granular. We could ask for some data there that also relates with what will be produced. So this could be kind of a commitment, maybe a time scope on the schema too. Uh, let's think about that. Interesting,
Mhm.
interesting. Uh, yeah, RWA. This is what came to my mind, and on that, like region, region network is doing like a kind of a sense making around their tokenomics and yeah, RWAs. Maybe this could be a pathway to explore.
Yeah, that's a good segue. That's a great segue into, you know, um, maybe we could talk a little bit about tokenization and yeah, stuff. I know you've been actively getting more involved in the region network, so would love to if there's any insights there. And yeah, I know there's other ecosystems as well. There's ecocerts, and we love hypercerts here too. So we could maybe talk a little bit about that. But curious with like with the region network side of things. Um, I believe you saying at one point like we could create our own methodologies and things of that nature. Um, so yeah, just curious on that.
Yeah, basically on region, we have like the eco credit builders lab every. I don't think it's every Thursday now, but I think every third Thursday on the month or something like that. And there is also a group where people discuss and they provide support. But basically, you can propose a new methodology on their governance. And if this proposal get accepted, you can create a new methodology. And there is one very interesting for conservation that is happening in Brazil, uh, that is focusing on an umbrella species, which is the jaguar. And it's very, very interesting how they are approaching. They brought together the scientists that are really like involved with this research, this with the species and all of that. So it's very, very interesting. And this is the type of credits. And there is others like I think they have around five now that they are that are active. There is the Vera one related with afforestation, and but yeah, I think for for there is some perspectives there too on there is no perspective for RWA, but there is some perspectives for biodiversity credits. So the,
Nice.
it's a good pathway, especially if we will. This is what I said about RWA is just something new. This is still sense making, I guess. Like people are discussing about. It's not any change they did, I guess. But they are in a interesting timing. They are doing some changes in the ledger. Uh, it's have been interesting to follow.
Nice. And yeah, and they recently so when they came to Cello, is that like fully migrated to Cello or just parts of their platform?
I think right now they are retiring with retry
Retiring?
retiring.
Yeah.
Yeah, retiring credits on Cello. And they are also making a movement to become like integrated with L2s, with more L2s. They already have an XLR region token on Cello. We are using this token on the region coordination on Gardens as the governance token. It's still an experiment, nothing for real, but just an example. Yeah, they are kind of making a move to connect and integrate with our tools and the whole Refi ecosystem. Yeah,
I saw that they also recently announced a regen wallet, so maybe that also might make it easier for the normal person to kind of take part in the network. I think it's more so with staking the regen token, but yeah, they're really cooking over there.
yeah, definitely some movement there. But relating with green goods, I think the biodiversity credits, this is a path. On the methodology for now, I think the invasive species and like trying to bring like a kind of how can we bring yeah biodiversity to a credit, like this is a whole exploration and deserves like a cohort maybe just for that for each specific use case. And in Green for Brazil, we are thinking about that, like how can we help the different projects that are coming to access this technologies and the knowledge behind uh, to issue uh, uh, their own vouchers, tokens, eco credits, like whatever they want to issue and to represent what they value.
Yeah. And I dropped in the chat Region Network times Cello call. So if you want to dive more into that collaboration and future plans there. And here I have open, we talked about region network. There's also hypercerts that enable tokenizing, and also ecocerts, which I'd love to open up the ecocert site real quick to show that. Okay, ecocert. Let's get a load for me. Oh, it doesn't want to open up.
Well, I've seen this map, this infographic. It's pretty interesting, and really, again, it's about ecological impact, sustainable development goals, ESGs, ecological benefits, which are good, but like for food production, it's not really the focus. Like, how can they certify that I made the sugar? The sugar might not have any ecological benefits under this view. Having locally made food. My view is that this kind of thinking leads to planting trees. Planting trees. It's what we see, which is cannot be against planting trees. This is good, but we need. I feel like we need to touch the very few humans that are connected to this. There are so little, so few. We need to hook them, and with food. That's the incentives that nature gives us to spread seeds. They put in the nice, colorful fruit, so we eat and we spread the seeds. And we are not using this incentive enough. And this is where I think Web3 should be. Like we could work together for, coordinate for. Like I'm not against ecological benefits, but I think there are cultural and nutritional benefits of producing food locally, and yeah, so
Yeah.
incentivize that too.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think I agree with that. I really resonate, especially in the States. Like, yeah, we could have more locally produced food. That'd be so wonderful. Yeah, that's why it's
We
great
could keep
having.
the same incentive. We could keep the same incentive we did on the pilot, the pre-pilot.
Oh, the basket of
Like,
food.
yeah, the basket of food, like from the local region, like for all the participants. Like the first event we did with Green Goods, when we were kind of mapping the actions we would do, we did an event where we kind of made a proof of concept of what we were expecting to do with the app, and we minted like the community tokens for every participant, and basically we distributed a basket of agroecological food from the region, and even some products from the participants. Like the participants, they had their own products. Like they had bread, uh, artisanal bread, and beer, and things like that. So some people exchanged like some some stuff.
Yeah, and it just makes me think about how this goes back to what we just talked about earlier around the social aspects of green goods and tapping into that. And yeah, I wonder how we could do kind of enshrine that ability to like or encourage that or incentivize doing like food baskets and kind of community events and gatherings for the different green spaces and gardens we're working with, because yeah, I think figuring out the larger protocol, I think I'm very optimistic because of you Diogo and like Wasabi who are like working on regenerative farming, and um I feel like we'll be able to do this cohort and like do this like pilot. We'll be able to figure out how we could like optimize for that. So I'm pretty excited. Because
Yeah, something that I was thinking about specifically on what you said about events is that we could have a proof of event on the app and create a protocol for that. Because this is a primitive, like I'm doing a bounty on Impact Miner with Green to Brazil. Not me, but I was the one who needed to create because of the NFT, but who got the guy from the community who's also participating in Agroforest DAO. He was the one who created the Macaeco, the guy who is in Green Goods. Even he's watching us even. Uh, and like he's the guy who created the bounty for mutirões. Basically, is how we call it here in Brazil. But we could create like a primitive for registering mutirões in grain goods. Maybe this could be an event. An event instead of an action, they could do like create an event or something like that.
Well, I think it'd be both, right? You'd create the event and then do a bunch of actions during that event, right? Or you pick some actions to do during that event, right?
Yeah, could be. Maybe the event could be an action, right? But I think we could have this focus and try to bring like more, yeah, like Diogo said, like the RWA, it is still could be food. You know, we are kind of sometimes we produce a lot of places. People produce food, and they because they don't have ways to like validate to value that. This is like just abundance, but if we track that, maybe we can show how much is being produced, like in financial terms.
In this evaluation segment there, like a food evaluation score, for example, food production score or something like that, that adds to that, so that we recognize those guys, we yeah, and we learn from them, we coordinate with them, it's important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
the community token we distributed. If we think about what this community token represents, represents a set of actions, like kind of uh, yeah, related with all these things. We represents
Yeah,
a basket of food. uh, a $10, a $12 basket of food to be more exactly.
yeah. The community. Yeah, we didn't mention the community token that much, but that was something that we felt could help to ground the environmental work in community initiatives and goals. To where the community and holding tokens are able to determine where, because the idea was you do this in environmental work, and aggregate that into tokenize it into, for example, hypersearch that then ideally people are buying shares of, but that the community would be able to decide with the income or revenue that comes from those shares, or to decide who to sell those shares to, or there's different things where the community could have a say in how the garden that's affecting the community. So it's not just a gardener maybe extracting and then getting out external resources and not feeding that back into the community and just keeping it for themselves. It's like trying to ensure that these gardens are grounded in community focuses and goals. Yeah, which could be food growing, like growing local food produce and things of that nature.
And again, like the plants, the trees I was planting on the like with the removing the invasive species was fruits. So we can also think this up on the long term if we develop the action, the schema.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it looks like okay, we're at that. Okay, time went by fast. And yeah, any final thoughts on kind of? I think there's a lot of good stuff here. Definitely, will rewatch this and look to get some notes and tidbits from it. But Is any last thoughts from Diogo, Coy? Maybe start with you, Diogo, if you have any last thoughts. That could pass over to Coy.
No, I'm not. I don't have any. I'm just shared everything I thought of. I just add a message in the Telegram group because I couldn't write in the chat here. But yeah, the food producer net framework maybe something that I will be willing to work on. Recognize all those food producers in Web3 that maybe don't have enough carbon in their lands, but are producing food, and we can put the carbon later. Yeah, nice.
The
Hey, baby
carbon is
Matt, what's
being
up, baby?
fixed. That's the good part because we are managing the agroforest system, so we are always fixing carbon in the soil. So this is like the end, the final stage.
Nice.
I just wanted to butt in real quick. Do we have a POAP by any chance?
Oh, we do have a POAP. I am so sorry, everybody. I totally forgot. But let's get that POAP queued up. So if you stayed on this long, you're true. If you claim this POAP, you're a true one. All right, I think it should be active. Let's see. It is today. It's the 25th, right? Yeah. Okay, it's active. Okay, let me copy this. So yeah, we have a plot for the call, and you should go ahead and claim it. It is you could claim on the Home app on all app stores. So yeah, so claim your POAP is good green methods. All right, good green methods. How can we create some good green methods? Yeah, thanks for that. Good catch, Matt. Totally would have forgot that one. Coy, yeah, I know you're already saying some last thoughts, but do you want any other last thoughts before we close the call?
I'm good. Thank you.
You're good.
Afu.
That's good.
Sorry. I was muting my POAP and I was muted. Sorry.
Okay, there you go.
No, work it for me. I have my POAP already.
Nice.
Beautiful artwork. Thanks who did. And yeah, thanks for hosting the space, Afo. Thanks for Jogo for joining. Thanks for also helping and being available to help us to build. Yeah, let's go create together. I think everyone is if anyone has interest, feel free to reach out to us and hop in the project. We are very open. We learning and building public, and yeah, just hop in the chat on the Telegram group or Discord. And thanks, Matt, too, for participating with us here today. And yeah, see you next time.
Awesome. And I'm just dropping, Coy mentioned joining us. I just dropped hopefully it works. I dropped the survey link for our onboarding form. I think there's a link to the Telegram from there too. But if you want to, maybe join us, and join this cohort and help the mirror board, it is public. It's just not linked that well, but let me drop a link for that as well for anybody who wants to take a look. I'll stop sharing as well. So go ahead. There's the mirror board link. Save it. It should be on our homepage. I'm not sure, but I'll just go double check. But yeah, make sure you got that POAP. And just want to close. Thank you everybody for joining. I really appreciate everybody taking the time to hear us talk about grain goods. We're very, very early on in this journey, and like Coy said, we're definitely looking for people to support, join us, help us make sure that we're building gringos in the right way and making sure we're building it, for the right people. And yeah, thanks everybody, and have a good rest of your day and a good weekend, and hope to see everybody soon. Bye-bye.